What if he beats Pereira?
No, because that's another easy fight. He's just going to take him down and choke him out. He's going to take him down and choke him out. He's going to take him down and choke him out. If he could do that to Cyril Gane, who's 40 pounds heavier than Alex Pereira and a good kickboxer, he could do it to Alex Pereira, who's 40 pounds lighter than Cyril Gane. Cyril Gane is the bigger version of Alex Pereira, and John Jones mopped the floor with him. What's going on, ladies and gentlemen? Welcome back to the Hardcore and the Casual podcast. I'm your host, Justin, and today I am joined by Matt and Elijah. We didn't have Jake back on. I just didn't text him. Oh, well.
Too casual.
Yeah, too casual. So we're going to be running down the 302, UFC 302, everything that happened on the card. And it was an awesome night. But first off, I want to mention, this is our 10th episode. This is our 10th episode of the MMA Podcast. So we are cooking now. We are well into the point where most podcasts usually cut off and they just stop posting. We're still posting. We're still going to be coming at you because we love this shit and we love you guys. So, 302 reactions start now. We're just going to start off with Mitch Raposo, which
no.
Yeah, Matt was really liking Mitch Raposo, but
yeah. You guys probably remember I was really excited. It's like one of the only fights I mentioned last podcast, and decided to throw some bets on him because this guy, I remember, tough. Like when we started watching UFC, like this guy was one of the first. It was the first tough back since it was over, right? And he was on Volk's team, and I love Volk, obviously my favorite fighter now. So watching Mitch fight's always awesome, but just couldn't get the job done. Looked pretty boring on 10 days notice, and you made weight. The other guy didn't make weight, so he didn't make weight. That is a good point. So that's impressive. Mitch, still love you, but we got to tone it up next time.
And I thought Mitch was doing really well. I mean, Lima only really hit leg kicks the entire time. That was really his whole strategy, was just keep on leg kicking. And Mitch really didn't try any takedowns until later into the fight.
Yeah.
I don't know. I feel like if they ran it back and he had like a game plan and he had time to prepare and he had a training camp, then he'd probably do a lot better. But I don't know. Lima just kind of leg kicked him from the outside the entire fight. It was fine.
I agree.
Whatever.
Did you watch that fight? Or?
No, I didn't watch that fight. I only was able to watch the main event. I was at work.
That's true.
Yeah,
man. Work always gets in the way of this bullshit.
But
yeah.
And then we had. By the way, a lot of people are saying that this card sucked. That it was terrible until the main event.
Really?
When we were watching it, we were like excited the entire time.
I enjoyed the entire card.
Yeah,
all the way through from the Mitch fight, all the way through to the Makhachev Poirier
exactly. Fight. I thought this was fire, but everyone online is saying that the main event just saved the card and the card was going to shit. Like just on the prelims, early prelims, we have Perez versus Edwards. That was a crazy fight. That was nuts. They were throwing each other around, hitting spinning back fists. The third round, they were just wearing it out there. They were exhausted. They were trying to still finish each other. I thought it was an awesome fight all the way. Like all the fights were pretty good. I don't know what people are talking about when they say that this card was boring. This card was great.
I enjoyed myself the entire time.
The
entire time I enjoyed myself.
We had a fight of the night with Mickey Gall versus Basil Hafez.
Sad about that fight.
Yeah, Mickey Gall. At first, I wanted Basil, but then as the fight kept going on, I was like, Mickey Gall is starting to come back. Yeah. Like, he got pieced up the first round, and then, like, second round, third round, he started actually coming back and landing big strikes and whacking him. I think he got a knockdown in there, too. It was a crazy fight, and that should have definitely gotten fight of the night over the main event. Like, I think the main event was more of a technical, like, awesome fight, and the fans were really into it, but, like,
Dustin Poirier robbed.
But like, we'll get to it. Those guys were making like $1 million each, like more than $1 million each. Mickey Gall and Basil probably made like 100,000 each. Yeah. So these guys should have gotten the fight of the night bonus. Like that's just how it should have been. The main event didn't need it. These two guys deserved it. They put on an awesome fight. Hafez won. It was cool. It was really cool. I enjoyed it.
It was a good fight to watch.
It was.
And that was early.
It was early. That was like that was the third fight on the card.
Fight was so.
I haven't even started talking about the prelims.
Awesome. Yeah.
Awesome fight. And Mickey Gall from Jersey. The Jersey crowd got really behind him.
We had favorites. This whole card, bro. Like everyone here, just favorites. Like
yeah.
You either have one side or you have the other side. There was no in between.
Yeah. And speaking of that, I really like Jake Matthews. I think Jake Matthews is really cool. This fight versus Phil Rowe wasn't the most entertaining Jake Matthews fight, but he won by decision, and I mean, they did go out there and they scrapped. It wasn't the most entertaining Jake Matthews fight, but it was a very entertaining Jake Matthews fight. I don't really remember too much about it. I mean, at this point of the night, I was like back and forth of trying to like get everyone in the door, trying to start setting up for grilling.
Yeah.
But I watched most of it. It was fine. Like, once again, all of these fights were fine, except for maybe the next one. The next one was pretty boring.
Yeah.
But this one, still pretty good.
It was good. Like you said, between like, grilling and then like that cooking my parlay, I just really didn't give a shit about that fight after that. It was a good fight, though. It was a good fight.
It was. And then you have probably the most boring fight on the card, Grant Dawson versus Joe Selecki. It was always going to be a grappling match for 3 rounds. That's Grant Dawson's style. That's what he does, and he went out there and he did it again. There's not much else to say. He just kind of grapple fucked him the entire time.
Same thing for that one.
Speaking of grapple fucking, Jilton Almeida walked over to Alexander Romanov. He took him down and he submitted him in 2 minutes and 27 seconds. Yeah. So that was good for you. You got points on our draft. We haven't actually talked about our draft on the channel yet. We'll get around to it one day and explain how we do it and how it all works. But we've got a draft written up on a chalkboard over here. He's got Jilton Almeida and Roman Kopylov right now, so he had a pretty good night because both those guys won back to back.
Yeah.
So.
And that was like the first fight of our predictions, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, so we all had Almeida, right?
Yeah.
So we're all 100% from that.
Yeah, we were all 100% from Almeida. We all thought he was going to beat Romanov, and he walked over and he submitted him in the first round. It was exactly what we thought it was going to be. Moving up, Cesar Almeida versus Roman Kopylov. Did not expect Roman Kopylov to get a knockdown on Cesar Almeida.
Nope.
The two of you went for Roman Kopylov. Yeah. Jake and I went for Cesar Almeida. So this was this was a good fight for you guys.
Got that right.
It went to decision. Didn't think that was going to happen either. But second and third round, Roman Kopylov started to shoot. It was always going to happen like that.
It was sketchy though.
Yeah, he got a pretty good punch in there in the first round that knocked down Cesar Almeida. But other than that, Cesar Almeida started to really turn it up on the feet.
Yeah.
And then Roman Kopylov started to get takedowns.
Cesar, he was scary with it, though, because we were outside grilling. I walk in, and all I see is Kopylov putting the paws on him, knocking him down. And I'm like, holy shit. You got a chance in this fight now, but now you can't get knocked out.
Yeah.
Because, this guy's putting the paws on you, too. And as the fight progresses, Kopylov is just gassing, and he's getting the paws put on him. And it was just sketchy to watch. Like, it's a good thing he went to the grappling, because if he didn't go to the grappling, he probably is getting knocked out.
Yeah,
he was fatiguing quick.
And once again, I mean, it went to decision, so not like, the big knockout that we were all expecting. But once again, I mean, the first round was very entertaining, and then it was always going to end up on the ground later in the fight for Roman Kopylov. Yeah. I didn't end up watching the fight live. I was grilling burgers, so I ended up actually watching it after everyone left. I went back and I watched a few of the fights that I missed while I was grilling, and it was fairly entertaining still, even though it hit the ground for a pretty good amount of time in the third. It was still fairly entertaining. So
I feel like Kopylov's flashy like that.
Yeah, he is, and Kopylov, I love Kopylov. He's a great fighter. I just thought the kickboxer was gonna get it done, but he just wasn't able to do it on this night. He's still, I guess, underprepared for MMA.
MMA map, man, doesn't make sense ever.
Nope. So, main card time. Once again, people saying that this was a boring card, crazy. Randy Brown versus Zaleski dos Santos. It wasn't the most entertaining fight, but they were going back and forth trying to submit each other. They were going back and forth hitting each other. There was a little bit of everything in there. Randy Brown threw a bunch of beautiful knees on Zaleski, and he walked away with the decision win. And yes, there were a lot of decisions on this card. There were no knockouts on this whole card.
Yeah, it was
not
weird.
A single knockout on the entire card. And I think people look at that stat and then forget how the fights actually went. They just look at it and they go, oh, it went to decision, it must be boring. No, just because there's no knockouts didn't mean these fights were completely boring. That's not how it works.
People just say anything.
They don't care.
Exactly. They'll literally just say anything. I bet you half the people saying that didn't even watch. They didn't even watch any of these fights. They just saw, oh, all decisions boring.
And this is why we have this podcast, to expose the casuals.
Exactly.
The viewers and the people around.
The people on the podcast as casuals. I watched the whole card. Did you?
No.
Exactly. Okay.
But you know what? The way you score fights and the way you technically look at them, it's just never on par. It's never on par. I think
I go by the actual rules. You go by your made-up fantasy that you think is the way it should be.
Nah.
All right.
You got to see it through the right lens, as if you were a judge.
Yes, but the rules that they have been taught since they started refereeing, the ones that I read to you on the podcast.
Refereeing's always biased.
Okay. So Randy Brown, Zaleski dos Santos. He had Zaleski dos Santos. The rest of us had Randy Brown. It went Randy Brown's way. Matt would have won if Zaleski dos Santos won this fight.
It was close for a while.
Yeah.
Like, not close, but like there was a few shots in that fight where Zaleski could have capitalized and just couldn't get it done.
Exactly.
But he kept me on the edge of my seat, wishing, making me think I had a shot at it.
Yeah.
It was a good fight.
There were a lot of sub attempts too.
Yeah, that fight it was a really good fight. I was very entertained by that fight.
And by this point, we were watching out on the projector, so we were.
Oh, it was beautiful, bro.
You gotta love sitting outside watching UFC fights on a projector.
Whether it's going your way or not, you can't be mad, man.
Exactly.
You just gotta enjoy the moment, and have a good ass time. That's what I did.
And then we had the two uncles fighting over the last beer at the bar.
Dude, I've seen so many memes about that on Instagram lately. Yo, it's fucked up.
This. And once again, yes, not the most entertaining fight, but take it for what it is. It's two uncles throwing hands in the middle of an octagon.
Just appreciate it, right?
Appreciate it for what it was.
Take a fight for what the fight is.
Exactly.
Exactly.
So, like, these guys, they could have went out there and they could have scrapped, but they went out there and they had a sloppy match. That's entertaining. You don't see that every day.
Exactly.
You don't see that every day, so that's what makes it so entertaining.
Like, maybe if it was too technical, it wouldn't be as interesting, Sometimes the more technical, the less interesting.
Who doesn't want to see two uncles put their dukes up?
Exactly.
I know. I'm always down.
They were gassed by the end, especially Moreno. He was so gassed. Nico Price picked up the win. I had Nico Price. I forget who else had Nico Price.
I think I did as well.
You had Nico Price,
sure I had him,
and I think those two had Alex Morano. Jake, I'm pointing at the non-existent seat for Jake from last week. But yeah, so Elijah and Jake had Morano, but you didn't get that win. Me and him got that win for Nico Price because Nico Price won the decision.
Yes.
So that ended up making us tied. You and I were tied at that point, and so was he. The three of us were tied. Jake was already completely out of it. But then at that point, we then realized that Matt and I both had Islam, so it was always going to be a tie no matter what happened after that fight.
Yeah.
So tie goes to the champ. So no matter
Matt
what, Matt was
interim
out.
champion.
That is not how it works.
What's up, brother?
And that's how we're
Remember
doing
the
it.
name, Matt.
Matt is
IC,
the interim champion.
Technically, Matt and I did tie
And Matt
for this
gets
belt.
Matt
but
gets a rematch. He
Ty
gets
goes
one
to the
more
champ.
fight.
I mean, he does. I mean, everyone does.
Quick little rematch, brother. Quick little rematch. Put it there.
All right, yeah. Next
All
week,
right.
next
Next
week on the
week,
pod.
yeah,
We got
100%.
time on the pod next week.
100%.
But yeah, so technically Matt and I tied. Ty usually goes to the champ, but we'll run it back. We'll do something next week. Maybe we'll do you want to do an MMA quiz against me next week? Maybe.
I mean, I'm down. We could do an actual fight. That'd work too. But maybe
A
quiz-
little
quiz-
bit
quiz
of
is good.
violence.
A quiz is good too. Maybe,
All right.
wait till we get more viewers, then we'll do an actual little sparring.
That's for
session.
our
in the
100th
cage.
episode. That's for the
100%,
100th episode. We'll do a tournament style bracket for our 100th episode. Get
That'll be
everyone
fun.
And
in.
by then, we'll have a UFC belt to unify it.
Exactly.
100%.
BMF on it.
So moving up, Kevin Holland, Michael Olajaychek. Kevin Holland almost got his ass knocked out.
Yeah, he was getting his butt whooped in that fight for sure until he kind of lucked his way into it, but skills in there.
2 in or 2 out. That's what he said to Michael Olajaychek. You either got to keep 2 arms in or 2 arms out. He left 1 arm in and he got it snatched. Kevin Holland flipped him over and maybe broke his arm, maybe dislocated his arm. I haven't seen any reports on how Michael Olajaychek is doing.
Yeah.
But his arm definitely bent the wrong way. It bent the way it's not supposed to. Like, you know how your joint goes this way?
Yeah.
His joint was going this way.
And there was like bone like sticking out of this area a little bit.
And
You think he can still throw a football?
Probably not. But
Hopefully he's lefty. No.
he went to go and like grab Kevin Holland's hands to like pull it off, but he kind of went like this. And then at that point, when he went like that to try and grab the hand, the ref just called it right off.
Herb called it, and it looked like he was tapping, but like you said, if you look at it in slow motion, it doesn't exactly look like a tap.
Yeah.
But when you're watching it live, it kind of did.
Yeah.
And you're kind of expecting it to, because it's like, we're looking at his arm, and it looks like it's shot. So now you see his arm flailing. You're like, oh, dude, he's done. But he wasn't done.
And that's what Herb Dean saw in the
Exactly.
moment, so.
And you can't blame Herb. That's a good stoppage.
Why is it always Herb Dean with these stoppages?
Because
It's like they have it out for him.
He's too good. They put him in the best fights because they know for a fact that they got to have him in there for it.
Yeah.
So it's always...
Can't have a casual like Justin in there. He's just going to call it early stoppages and all this nonsense. It's like, bro... I'm the hardcore. You're the casual, man. Like,
who's the one with the belt?
Oh,
Intern.
Not the belt.
All right. I also just wanted to bring up before I forget, the gloves did not work. There was eye pokes all over the place. If we look up the average for what like the average eye pokes are in a UFC card, I bet you that this card 302 was well above the average for eye pokes in a night. So those gloves do not work. And Joe Rogan actually said that at some point during the card. Joe Rogan just said, oh, there's another eye poke. I guess we thought that this was going to solve the problem, but I guess we were wrong. It didn't solve the problem.
Oh, wait till Leon fights Bilal.
Yeah, really.
That'll be the real test.
A toe poke.
So I remember the Mitch fight. You were just like, all right, let's see how these gloves do. First fight with the new gloves. Let's see how it does. First eye poke, like I think it was the first round. You're just like, oh, look, I already got the first one. Not even the next round. Might have been like 5 minutes later. Yeah. Not even another one. He's like, come on.
Exactly.
Like how good are these actually working? Not
there
good.
was an eye poke in like every other fight.
You seen Islam's glove? It like the whole UFC logo just wiped away.
Did it really? I didn't see that. No, I didn't see that.
And the gold looks so dumb. I did not like the gold. The gold made it all look like it made it look like toys fighting.
It did.
So I wasn't a big fan of the gloves. They don't work, obviously, so what was the point? I guess this was the test run, but it just didn't work. So that's really all I have to say. I didn't like them last week. I like them even less this week. So
I agree.
Co-main event time. I got a lot to say, so if either of you want to say anything about this co-main event, go right ahead, but I'll give my opinions afterwards. Sean Strickland beat Paulo Costa, 5-round decision.
You got anything to say?
I'm gonna start it off like this. It was a great fight. Sean Strickland, his pressure and his offense looked great as usual. He was doing his game plan. It was working. Paulo Costa, he was trying to look for an answer, but it didn't seem like he had that answer. It didn't seem like he could get through Sean Strickland's awkward style. And I think had he had maybe another tune-up fight versus fighting someone who maybe just fought for a belt, who's maybe at that level, is maybe a little too much. And I think the UFC kind of is disrespecting Sean Strickland in a way, because it's like, this dude's ranked number 7. Like, he's not even, it's like Sean Strickland could have been fighting Izzy for all,
Yeah.
So, yeah, but good win.
He's kind of a can, for Sean to fight. That's what I thought. A lot of people said the fight was boring. I mean, you could kind of agree. Personally, I enjoyed the fight. I thought it was a good fight.
Yeah.
Sean did what Sean does, and Paulo, people are like, oh, it's boring, but Paulo didn't engage. Dude, this guy was on the back pedal the entire fight. Yeah. So it's like, if you want it to be a good fight, don't shit on Sean, because Sean did what Sean does, and it's going to be a good fight if someone else actively wants to fight. And Paulo did not look like he wanted to fight. And I think the longer the fight went on, the more and more that showed. And I think it was fitting that at the end of the fight, Sean kind of just walked him down with that really crazy flash at the end. It wasn't a knockdown with the head kick, but it kind of showed at the end, like, you're on the back pedal. You don't want to fight. Sean did what Sean does. Boring fight. I enjoyed it.
He took the words right out of my mouth. It was exactly what I was going to say. I see a lot of people saying that Sean Strickland is boring, his style is boring. No, it's just that his style is so effective that people disengage with him. Mm-hmm. They don't want to fight him because he's so awkward and his style is so weird. So people just back up and run away, and they try and hit him with big shots just to see if they could counter him. but he's the least hit middleweight in UFC history. So that style, the style that Paulo Costa tried to do against Strickland, it just doesn't work as well unless you're someone like Alex Pereira who can knock him out with one punch. Mm-hmm. If you can't knock him out with one punch, then you're going to lose based on activity to Sean Strickland. That's why DDP beat Strickland, was because he threw in takedowns. Paulo Costa didn't try a takedown the entire fight.
Nope.
He didn't try to go forward the entire fight. He kept on the back foot, and it just, the optics of the fight were just Sean Strickland walked him down and punched him the entire time. So, and that one judge that scored it 49-46 for Costa is goddamn insane, and that dude should never referee a
Maybe he
fight
wasn't
again.
wrong.
49-46.
Maybe he wasn't
That means
wrong.
Paulo Costa won 4 rounds. That's crazy.
Hold on.
I watched it twice. That's crazy.
If you really look at the fight,
No.
you can kind of be like, Paulo Costa did enough, because there were times where he did land the bigger immediate strikes, which is scored more heavily. And like you said, multiple strikes don't really matter if the other person has the bigger strikes and lands the bigger strikes in the round.
But then you also got to take in consideration when the
Think
fight
about
when the
towards
round
the
is
end
no,
when Paulo
exactly.
Costa's when he's catching. Okay, so look, you can give Paulo Costa round 2, right? You give him round 2 and then rounds 4 and 5 where he starts picking things up.
No, because round 5 is the only round where Strickland did anything of giant significance.
Round 4 was a swing round. Round 4 was a swing round.
I don't think so, because Paulo Costa walked back to his corner every time looking exhausted, and Strickland stood there, and he basically just shrugged away his coaches. He just stood there. He didn't do it. After the round was over, he walked over to his side and he just stood there. Wasn't even breathing heavy. Paulo Costa was like,
being gassed is different from losing the fight.
but he looks more damaged. Paulo Costa looked
no,
like he was
it's not
taking
about
more
about who
damage.
looks more damage. Well, it is, but
It
it's
is.
like
It
no
is.
one drew blood, so
That doesn't
you
matter.
can't use that. It's about
you can.
who hit
That's
harder
exactly
and
the
who
point.
reacted to the
That
bigger
is exactly the
to
point.
the bigger hits, and the person who reacted to the bigger hits was Sean Strickland.
No,
if you really
he
look
wasn't.
at it.
He didn't react to anything. He would get hit with a big shot and then just walk forward again.
What makes you more official than a UFC judge?
No, I'm just saying, well, the other 2 judges that disagreed with that guy. The 2 judges that I'm agreeing with over the one judge that no one agrees with.
49-46 is crazy.
Crazy.
There's no way in hell that fight is
A
49-46.
49-48 Costa.
I don't even think that's possible. That's not a thing.
possible.
That's not a thing. You can't have a 49. It's 49-47. It would be, or 48-47. That'd be 2 to 3.
Splitting them, yeah.
48-47. That'd be 2 to 3.
Man, Costa probably should have won.
No, he shouldn't have.
He should
That
retire.
was crazy.
Bro has
he should
no
retire.
wins over any active
No
UFC
active-
fighter. And
and
actually,
now he
half
does-
of the fighters he's ever fought are retired.
And now he doesn't even have his stat anymore of every card him being on.
Yeah.
I think
I
I
think
it's not even true anymore.
if the version of Paulo that showed up against Robert Whitaker would have showed up against Sean, we could have had a fucking crazy fight that you would never know. Guns a-blazing, you would never know who's going to win. Yeah. But something about Sean, dude, that forward pressure just standing in your face, it got him fucked up. Least he couldn't do anything about it.
Least hit middleweight.
And he could have showed up like that. He could have showed up like that.
Could have, but he didn't. He didn't even try.
I thought he would. And I was really, really excited for that.
The leg
was
kicks.
not disappointed, but
He was hitting a lot of leg kicks early in the fight, but then Strickland checked that one. Like, he crossed over his leg and checked it with his own right leg, basically kicking Paulo Costa's kick, and then Costa didn't throw another leg kick for the rest of the fight.
you think maybe it tweaked him, or he was just
it tweaked him. He stumbled on that leg afterwards.
So it was hurt.
He planted it and then, like, dead leg for a second.
So he had to change his game plan a little bit. So maybe he fucked this whole game plan up, but that's why it's MMA.
Exactly. You gotta learn on the fly. He should have thrown a takedown.
It was a
in
good
there.
fight, though. I enjoyed it.
I enjoyed it too. So now, the main event of the evening lived up to all the hype that was coming to it, and Islam Makhachev round 5 submission. It was a fucking banger of a fight. I gotta say, it probably did deserve fight of the night, but like I said, Mickey Gall and Hafez probably deserved it more just based off the fact that they were making less money. Islam literally said, "Oh, great, I made $100,000.
Yeah.
It's whatever. Like,
That's what he's there.
he literally said it's whatever. Like, I'm making so much more than that now. It didn't even matter.
Yo, like I did the money scale conversion from our money to their money. I mean, Islam's a rich man in Russia.
Yeah,
Rich man.
He is. Him and Habib are both very rich. And Habib was gifted a piece of property by Putin when he beat I think when he beat Dustin, he was gifted like a piece of property.
Yo,
and it's like a fucking massive piece of property.
When he fought McGregor, after he got that cash, that put him in like billionaire status over there.
That's crazy.
But
Billionaire.
That's crazy.
So just to talk about some things that happened in the fight, Dustin Poirier got out of a nasty Kimura in the first round. That thing was in deep, and Dustin was able to squirm his way out of it. But Islam clearly won the first round. Islam clearly won the third round as well. It's that second round and that fourth round, which were the swing rounds. One judge scored it 2-2, gave Poirier round 2 and 4. One judge gave Poirier round 2 and Islam round 4. And then one judge gave Islam round 2 and Poirier round 4. So 2 and 4 were completely split by every judge. Every judge saw 2 and 4 differently. And I would agree. I think those are the closest 2 rounds. I would have given all 4 to Islam. I might be a little biased. Round 4 was the closest, though. But Islam dominated the first and the third.
You're being very biased.
Islam dominated the first and the third round.
Now I'm just thinking, you're just making a bunch of casual
Okay, what were the
takes.
2 closest rounds?
2 and 4.
2 and 4. And then what happened in 1 and 2? Islam dominated.
Islam did not dominate round 1.
Yes, he did. He dominated round 1.
He won round 1, but dominate is a crazy term.
He dominated round 1.
Crazy term.
And also, Islam also outstruck Dustin Poirier on significant strikes and total strikes, and only 6 of those were on the ground.
Here's the thing, though.
Islam outboxed Dustin.
Here's the thing. Those do not matter when you're scoring damage. And both those guys damaged each other, but Dustin Poirier damaged Islam's face more than often in at least about 2 or 3 rounds in. 2 or 3 rounds in. So when you look at that versus the strikes, and you look at all the other fights, the way you scored it, you can basically say Dustin Poirier was on his way to winning.
No, he wasn't. Because
he was.
Wait.
Yeah, he was.
2 judges had it 3-1, so it would have been impossible for Poirier to win.
The 5th round would have looked unless he submitted him.
Listen to what I'm saying. It wouldn't have mattered because 2 judges already had it 3-1. So even if Dustin won the 5th round, that would have only been 3-2, which means that Islam still would have won.
Depending on if he got a 10-8 or a knockdown.
That would have tied it, but still, that's not what happened. He submitted him. But if it was just a normal 10-9 round and Poirier won it, Islam still would have won the decision, no matter what. Because it was already scored 3-1 by 2 judges, which meant the fight was basically over.
But you have to look at the judges in the fight, because some of those judges, they're known to look at grappling and certain things and be like, this didn't matter, or this knockdown didn't matter. These strikes weren't as significant as what he did right after his comeback. And when you look at that, it makes you think, what is the scoring criteria? How are we looking at the fights?
Well, let me read this to you. Round 1, Islam landed 6 strikes, Poirier landed 1. That's domination. Poirier landed 1 strike the entire round.
Strike or significant strike?
That's just strikes. That's literally round 1, he landed 1 strike. Round 2, he landed 24, Islam landed 26. Round 3, Islam landed 18, Poirier landed 15. Round 4, Dustin landed 23, Islam landed 20.
That's the one that's like, okay, you get.
That's the reason why I'd almost give round 4 to Poirier.
Here's the thing about stats. When we're looking at stats, number one, we have to look at strikes thrown, and then we'll have to look at strikes landed percentage.
Okay.
Okay,
hear me out. Islam 56%, Poirier 40%.
But when you're looking at that, they're not too far off. That is really far off. Poirier threw 10%? Poirier threw 183 strikes and landed 74 of them. Okay, but you can take
Islam landed 156, so he threw 30 punches lefts and landed 10 more punches.
You have to put in the extra 10% for the ground punches.
Nope,
For the
6.
ground and
Only
pound.
6. The entire fight, only 6 ground strikes. Only 6. Entire fight. 6 ground strikes by Islam.
But who landed the bigger, more damaging strikes when he opened Islam up and he cut his eye? He cut his head.
And Islam cut Poirier.
But he didn't cut him as bad. And Poirier cut him open 2 rounds. Damage, man. Damage.
And the damage went to Islam for at least 3 of those rounds. Round 1 definitely, round 2 definitely. Or round 1 definitely, round 3 definitely. And round 2, Islam landed the better strikes. Islam was landing knees, uppercuts. Islam outboxed Dustin Poirier.
Whoa.
He outboxed
Don't forget,
Dustin.
when he was going for those knees, he couldn't get those knees. Here comes Dustin Poirier with the body shots. Body shots.
Which
Good body
didn't even
shots.
look like they affected Islam.
They did. They did.
Didn't
It slowed
look
him
like
down.
it.
It
Didn't
slowed him
look like
down.
it.
I mean, his stamina was kind of low, but like, is it because of the antibiotics? Was it because of the staff?
Could have been.
Like, what was going on? He definitely looked slow. I think Poirier defended takedowns better than I thought.
Yeah.
I was rooting for Poirier. I chose Islam,
Yeah.
but Islam kind of just pieced him up. 6 ground strikes the entire fight is kind of wild, though. I don't know why I don't believe that.
That's what
It
the
felt like
official
more than
stats
that.
say.
At least like 15.
Because I think whenever Islam got it to the ground, he was always going for a submission, whether it was that Kimura, whether he was taking the back, trying to get a choke.
Yeah, and I feel like a lot of the time you're right. Dustin was like in a position to defend it. It wasn't like it was more of a scramble on the ground. Like when he got control, then Dustin would put him in a position that was awkward, and instead of striking or trying to find the submission, which he if he wasn't doing it, he was scrambling.
And Poirier's biggest moment on the ground was hitting that switch to get out of a takedown. Like
That was clean.
He was up against the cage. I saw it coming. Like I literally said, he's trying to hit a switch. I don't know how Islam didn't notice it if I was able to notice it. Because Poirier reached back one time and then just stopped. And then he went for the switch. So,
Yeah.
I don't know how Islam didn't notice that switch was coming.
Probably fatigue. This performance to me felt like Islam versus Volk won.
Yeah.
But I think Volk did better for sure. But like it was very close in the way that they defended his takedowns.
Yeah.
And in the way that they were able to actually like implement their boxing. Like obviously Islam's going to look better with his boxing because the threat of the takedown.
That's what we were talking about
You
before.
don't want to get in there and really let your hands go when you're scared of the takedown.
If it was a real
But
boxing
once the
match,
fight goes
yeah.
on, you see Poirier he doesn't give a fuck anymore.
Yeah.
He's ready to let him go. And if he came in like that, it could be a completely different fight. But we'll never know.
Yeah,
but it was a fucking awesome fight. Love that
Yeah.
fight. 23 minutes, did not have that on my bingo card.
I will say this. No matter what anyone could say, Islam is a very good and a very complete fighter. And when it comes down to the fight, like regardless of what the strikes was, who was up what and what rounds, no matter what, Islam was gonna win that fight because overall he was gonna be able to mix in his skills better than Poirier was. Poirier was going to have to come in and make those adjustments from the get-go. Islam being the younger, the fresher, and just the overall better fighter. We were going to have to see Poirier make those adjustments on the ground and on the feet. So, nonetheless, great fight.
It was a good fight.
If it was a pure boxing match, I'm sure Dustin would have been able to knock him out and would have done much better on the feet. There was the threat of the takedown, which I'm sure halted a lot of his actions. But for what the fight was, Islam was outstanding with his boxing. It was crazy to watch him start to piece up Dustin in like the early into the first round. He was landing big shots on Dustin, and it was just like, wow, I knew his hands were clean because he was able to piece up Volk. But like I didn't know they were this good. Like he was slipping, dodging. Like he looked like he knew what he was doing on the feet. It didn't look like he was lost. Like Habib,
He's always known.
Habib used to look lost on
a little
the
bit.
feet.
He knocked down McGregor though. Man,
He did.
Technical as fuck. Habib got better the later he went, but I feel like Makhachev's had to fight more boxers. I feel like, than Habib had to. So
I think Islam's definitely the more well-rounded. But if you threw them in a cage together, I'm sure Habib probably would have beaten him.
nah,
You don't think so?
Nah. I think Islam's beating him, bro.
I don't think his ground game's as good though.
not as good. No, but like it's close enough that he's more well-rounded.
Fairly, yeah,
he's more
yeah.
well-rounded.
And then there was the discussion that Dana was having in the post-fight press conference, which John Jones versus Islam, who's the pound-for-pound number one right now, and I think Dana White's getting pound for pound confused with GOAT. John Jones is the GOAT. Pound for pound right now in the world, it's Islam.
100%, bro. 100%.
It can't be because
it's John Jones.
You
man.
can't take in consideration his
John
early
Jones.
career. Who's the best right now? How?
Never lost.
That doesn't matter. Who's the best right now?
John Jones.
That doesn't matter what he did in the.
Jones.
You can't just keep on saying it.
GOAT. John Jones.
You can't just keep saying it over and over again. Explain it.
John Jones.
Explain why you think that, and don't say it's because he's undefeated. You
Undefeated.
can't say that. Who's the best in the world right
John
now?
Jones.
Why?
Does Islam beat John Jones in a fight?
They're different weights. That's what pound for
John
pound means.
Jones. That's what best in the world means.
No,
if you can beat everybody,
weight,
best
if they were
in
the
world.
same weight, Islam would beat John Jones right now.
Are you serious right now?
Yes, because John Jones is like 38 years old. If he was 155
how
pounds,
old
Islam
is-
would walk through him.
What? Are you
He's
crazy?
38. He
Listen,
would
listen,
get walked
listen,
through
listen,
by Tom
listen,
Aspinall.
Listen to me. Stop. Relax. Any version of John Jones whoops Islam. Listen, John Jones has literally been in championship fighting since I was like 7 years old.
Who's
you know how
the
old
best
Islam was?
right now?
Islam was in high school. Islam was in high school.
Doesn't
And
matter.
John Jones.
You're doing
John
the same
Jones,
thing Dana did. Get
John,
pound for pound
listen,
confused with
no,
GOAT.
but here's the thing though. The man is undefeated. He's been fighting championship fights since he was 22. You're 22 right now.
Yeah, he's the GOAT.
Imagine being in a UFC,
He's the
beating
GOAT.
people up
He's the GOAT.
till now, 2024.
I agree. He's the GOAT. He's not pound for pound number one in the world right now. He's
If
the
Islam
GOAT.
walks up to him, Alex Pereira walks up to him, Francis Ngannou walks up to him, if Tom Aspinall walks up to him, they're getting the boot.
No,
John
Tom Aspinall walks through John Jones right now.
John Jones.
You're getting confused the same way
John
Dana got
Jones.
confused. You can't just keep saying that. You got to actually explain yourself because you're acting like
You
casual.
tell that to Dana.
Stop being a casual and explain
So
why.
are you saying Dana's a casual?
Everyone's saying Dana is a casual. The biggest channel on YouTube, MMA On Point, did an entire video explaining why Dana White was wrong about that.
John Jones. But you know what Dana Wright was right about? The Sean Strickland getting robbed by Dricus Du Plessis.
No, he wasn't.
DDP
DDP won the 3 rounds in the middle.
I'm down on that one.
Yeah.
DDP won the middle 3 rounds. But that's not what we're talking about right now. We're talking about the fact that Islam Makhachev is more impressive right now as lightweight champ than John Jones is as heavyweight champ.
Well, that's because he's
John
injured.
Jones,
John Jones won the heavyweight championship in like a
against,
minute.
against a dude that got out grappled by Francis Ngannou.
Okay, but
Knocked
like
down by Tai Tuivasa.
Exactly.
Whoa,
Like, come
whoa,
on.
whoa, whoa,
Cyril
whoa,
Gane
whoa,
is
whoa.
not that good.
he is a lethal striker.
He's not that good.
He could have knocked out John Jones.
He got out grappled by Francis Ngannou. If he could get out grappled by
But
Francis
you want to know
Ngannou, he could get out grappled by fucking Tai Tuivasa.
But Francis Ngannou
Tai should have shot.
is a championship. He's a better fighter. He has those skills. Like, you got to understand, Francis Ngannou is MMA. Like, Cyril Gane's striker. He's bigger. He's buffer. He was, like, at the end of the day, when it comes down to wrestling, it all comes down to who has the bigger thighs.
Okay, question.
That's what all wrestlers tell me.
John Jones barely beats Dominic Reyes.
No. Whoa. I watched that fight multiple times. John Jones, he was not in threat of danger in that fight. Dominic Reyes did not beat John Jones. Stop that.
It was a close fight, though. It was an extremely close fight to a dude that sucks. Dominic Reyes sucks. And John Jones and him had a close fight. That's not pound for pound shit.
What?
Can I pose a question? How often do they update the pound for pound rankings?
Every Tuesday they update
Every
it.
Tuesday. So when was the last time Islam fought?
Last week,
Last week. When was the last time Jones fought?
a year and a half ago.
So like you said, whether we're talking about, you can't talk about weight because it's saying they're all the same. Like if they were the same weight, blah blah blah, right? Blah blah blah. For me, pound for pound comes down to, like you said, who's the best right now.
What have you done
And
for
the
me
last
recently?
time I saw a Jones fight was fucking probably the Jurassic era. So Islam just fought, looked really good. I fucking love John Jones. But
If we're saying the best right now,
like right now, pound for pound's updated, like you said, every Tuesday. It's very, very often.
you could make a very strong argument that the best right now in their division, the person you could count on to beat everyone in their division right now, Sean Strickland. You can count on you can count on him.
Sean Strickland is
to beat
number
Paulo
14.
Costa.
Sean Strickland is number 14 on
But
the
that's
pound
what I'm
for pound.
saying.
That's
You
not
could
even what we're talking
you could count
about.
him in a rematch to beat Dricus, to beat Izzy again, to beat Robert Whitaker. You could count on him to beat Marvin Vettori.
Okay.
You could count on him to beat anyone in the middleweight division. So if you're talking pound for pound, you would probably have to go Sean Strickland realistically.
Let me ask you a question. Who has the most wins over other people on the pound for pound list?
Izzy?
No.
Pereira.
No. It is Islam. Islam holds 2 victories over Volk and 1 over Charles Oliveira. He has the most wins over people on the pound for pound list. John Jones has a whopping 0. He's beaten no one on the pound for pound list, and Islam has 3 wins over people on the pound for pound list. That's what pound for pound means.
You just said 2.
Well, Volk twice and then Charles Oliveira.
See, here's the thing about Volk. It's like
we don't even have to get into those weeds. We don't have to get into it. Fine, 2.
The first fight with Volk, okay, I get it. The second fight, he's coming off a 2-week layoff, and you're not fighting someone in your division. He could have used that fight to fight someone in the division. This is what I'm saying. Islam needs to keep fighting his division. Now that Justin Gaethje just got knocked out, it's looking bad for him if he comes back because it just paves the way.
Armin's next. Dana White said that. It's Armin next. And then if Islam beats Armin, then he gets a shot at 170.
Oh, but come on, man. He beats Armin, but like, I mean,
he has already beaten Armin.
But like, Armin, like,
dude, all I'm saying is that John Jones hasn't beat a top pound for pound fighter in 10 years.
Okay.
It's been 10 years since the last time John Jones beat another GOAT.
Acknowledge him the way you acknowledge Roman Reigns.
No, because John Jones is currently, he's either beating people who suck like Cyril Gane, or he's barely beating people who suck like Dominic Reyes.
John Jones comes back and he wins a fight, whether it be against Stipe.
If he beats Stipe, he's still not.
What if he beats Pereira?
No, because that's another easy fight. He's just going to take him down and choke him out. He's going to take him down and choke him out. He's going to take him down and choke him out. If he could do that to Cyril Gane, who's 40 pounds heavier than Alex Pereira and a good kickboxer, he could do it to Alex Pereira, who's 40 pounds lighter than Cyril Gane. Cyril Gane is the bigger version of Alex Pereira, and John Jones mopped the floor with him.
In saying that, obviously you're saying that John Jones is that fucking good.
Yeah, he's good enough to beat a middleweight.
But when it comes to pound for pound, it's a different story.
Yeah,
it's a different story when it comes to pound for pound. John Jones fucking dog walks anyone.
Anyone.
John Jones needs to beat actual guys on the pound for pound list. If he beats Tom Aspinall, then maybe he is pound for pound number 1.
No. If he beats Tom
Aspinall is on the pound for pound list.
If he beats Tom Aspinall, if he beats anybody, he's the GOAT.
No,
he's pound for
not
pound.
Anybody.
He's champion.
If he beats Stipe, it's washed.
He's been on the pound for pound list longer than anybody.
He needs to beat someone who isn't washed.
Listen, he's done pound for pound years in a row straight.
Yeah, he was
pound for pound doesn't
number
even
1
matter
10
for John.
years ago.
He was pound for pound number 1 10 years ago, 10 years straight.
Yeah, that's fine. He's not
Jones
anymore.
is the guy.
He's not the
Like,
number
he's the
1
guy.
anymore.
Like,
he's not number 1 anymore. He's number 1 all time. He's not number 1 right now.
Listen, he's number 1 because he's been pound for pound so many times. He could probably put it. He can't even count on his fingers. He don't even got enough fingers.
But he's not right now. He is not the best in the world right now. He is the GOAT, the greatest of all time. Yes.
Islam is the best right now.
Yes.
But John Jones will whip his ass.
And he weighs fucking 100 pounds more. But also, Leon Edwards gets his ass whooped by Islam. And we were just having that argument. Leon Edwards gets his ass whooped by Islam.
I'm telling you right now, like, that's not happening. Okay, so look at Dustin Poirier. Dustin Poirier is a lot smaller than Leon. Leon's striking is a lot more crisp. He's a lot younger. He's coming off
He's not a lot younger. They're the same age.
All right, around the same age, but in terms of, like, body and shape-wise...
He's actually a year older. Leon is 33. Islam's 32.
Here's the point. Here's the point. In terms of him and his age with Dustin Poirier. But here's the thing. If Dustin Poirier could get out of those exchanges the way Leon's always fighting a wrestler. He just fought 2 wrestlers back to back. He's fighting another wrestler. And if he beats this wrestler, he's going to beat the wrestler from the smaller weight class coming up. And it's just the way things work. Like, Islam is wrestling kryptonite. And if Dustin Poirier could get out of those exchanges, Leon, who's even bigger, even taller, is getting out of it.
Leon only beats wrestlers who have no threat of submissions.
But here's
Name
the thing.
a person that Usman has submitted. Name
But
a person
it's-
that Colby has submitted.
But it's not
You
about
can't.
it's
You
not
can't.
it's not about submission because
Islam is a submission
all,
specialist.
all the fights start at the feet. So when you're looking at Dustin Poirier and Islam, Dustin Poirier is shorter and he's smaller. Now let's look at a different fight. Islam is about what 3-4 inches taller than Poirier, maybe 30 pounds bigger frame. Like he's gonna
Which
have
means
the
he's
reach
the same
advantage.
size as Leon.
No. I'm talking about Leon.
Yeah, Islam and Leon are about the same size.
No.
Leon may be a
Leon's
little bit
bigger.
taller, but he doesn't weigh more than Islam at their
Yeah.
max.
No, he does.
No, he doesn't.
He does. But his frame.
They probably
is
both
bigger.
weigh around 200 pounds walking around.
But his frame
Because
and his
the
frame-
Dagestanis cut more weight than anyone else. The Dagestani people,
Leon-
they
Islam's
purposely
probably
weight
like
bully.
180, 195 most. Leon's touching a good 220. He's about 6'2", 6'3".
He's not touching 220.
Yeah, I'm telling
Islam's
you.
a skinny boy. Islam is skinny, or not Islam. Leon is skinny.
But
There's
because
no way he's touching
taller,
220.
he's 6'2".
There's no way he's bigger than Izzy. Izzy's only 193 walking around.
Matt.
So then how is Leon
Matt,
bigger
how
than
tall are
Izzy?
you? Matt,
6 foot,
Matt's about 6 foot, 6'1".
We're
Matt, how
not
much do
we're
you
not
weigh?
UFC
200
fighters.
pounds.
200 pounds.
We're not UFC fighters.
I'm looking it up right now. Leon's around 200 pounds walking around.
But
And so is Islam.
Look at the way he's built, though.
Islam's probably 194.
They put him next to you. I'm not gonna lie. They put Leon next to Roman Reigns, bro. They look about the same.
next to Roman.
Roman Reigns.
Like Leon's a pretty big dude.
Like,
'cause
obviously-
Roman's like 265.
Well, not like, but like height wise and like
Yeah.
a little in width.
It's just that Leon's skinny. That's the thing. He's so skinny.
He's
longer.
a big middleweight, not middleweight, welterweight.
Yeah.
Yeah, Makachev as well, 200 pounds.
They same
Okay.
weight.
His
They-
weight cut looks really harsh all the time whenever he does it. It looks
Exactly.
really rough.
same. They're the same weight walking around, which means that they're going to be same weight on fight night.
Okay, but just that little height advantage is just gonna give him that boost. Like,
But
especially with the striking. Leon's never
Usman-
fought anyone taller.
Usman dog walked Leon at that weight,
But Usman's bigger than Leon.
and Islam is going to come in there bigger than Leon
He's
too.
not gonna come in bigger.
He's
than
going to come in bulked
It's a
as
2 inch.
fuck.
It's a 2 inch difference in height.
Yeah, which Usman was also a 2 inch difference in height. But Islam is going to bulk for that fight. He's going to look
Usman
bigger.
was 2 inches bigger than Leon.
No, Leon was 2 inches bigger than Usman. Usman is pretty short. Leon's tall.
Leon can crack Islam, I think.
Oh, for sure.
But the
Like
thing
you
is,
said about the wrestling, though, it's gonna be a little different.
but
considering
name a knockout by Leon Edwards that didn't happen in the 5th round.
he could crack him. Like,
He's
but,
had-
like, Islam's
but-
been cracked before though. He's been cracked by Volk. He's been cracked by. He got knocked out, obviously. So like,
Leon has very good precision striking. Like he might
He's had
have
two
more.
knockouts in the
Listen,
UFC.
it's like
Two.
even like what you told me before. It's not like what you said before about the card. It's not about knockouts. If it was a good fight, it was a good fight. It's about what happens in the fight. And you said that earlier on the podcast tonight.
Okay, so every time that Leon has been taken down, he has been fighting a wrestler that has no submissions. Usman never submitted anyone. Colby never submitted anyone. Bahal Muhammad's never submitted anyone. Every wrestler that Leon has fought are all guys that are wrestlers but no submissions.
But Leon-
Islam, if Islam gets a takedown, the first thing he's going to do is go for a submission. So we have never seen Leon try to defend a submission.
But we have seen him go for it, and he's gotten him, and he's won by submission many of times.
Yeah, well,
more than
that
he has
doesn't-
by decision.
That doesn't mean anything when you're going up against Islam Makhachev, who trained since he was a fucking baby on how to do this shit. It's just a different level that the Dagestani guys are on. And I think that if Islam does manage to take Leon down, Leon's never faced something on the ground like that. He's faced wrestlers and he's been controlled on the ground before. Now get controlled on the ground by a wrestler who also knows submissions.
Okay.
Sambo.
You're going by submissions. I get it, but it's like if even about submissions, like he's used to guys in his division that are like bigger trying to put him down. Someone who's smaller trying to come up, he's gonna be like kind of used.
He's
to
not
it.
smaller; they're the same size.
They're the same size, but it's like It's like wrestling. If you were, what did you wrestle at?
182.
182. If he was wrestling at 200 every time and he came down to 182, he's going to be like, whoa, these guys are way easier than what I was doing at 200. Because it's like what you're used to. Like, he's putting his body through that constant pressure, through those bigger strikes that they were landing on him. I think Leon's going to do exceptionally well. He's going to retain his title.
But Islam has submitted 2 black belts, Dustin Poirier and Charles Oliveira. Charles Oliveira, the dude that has the most submissions in UFC history, yeah, Islam submitted him like he was nothing.
Dustin Poirier is a striker. And
no, Dustin Poirier was a black belt in jiu-jitsu long before he ever learned how to strike. Dustin Poirier started as a jiu-jitsu guy.
He started as a street fighter.
With a black belt in jiu-jitsu.
He started throwing hands in
Dustin
Poirier
has had a black belt in jiu-jitsu.
Same high school as DC.
Yeah, Dustin Poirier has had a black belt in jiu-jitsu longer than you've been alive. So that he's a black belt, and Charles Oliveira is also a black belt, and Islam submitted both of them.
Okay, but
Leon is not anywhere near the grappler that they are.
Was used to fighting like bears and whatever sambo tournaments they had in like some triangle type of ring, and
if he could submit a bear, he can submit Leon Edwards.
I think that Leon's really good at defensive wrestling, and he has gotten really good. He's really good at reversing situations.
But there's a different level, like the sweep by Islam to Dustin Poirier's leg. Dustin Poirier has been training 6 weeks with Gamrot, who's probably like one of the best wrestlers in the division. And Gamrot put him through all the motions. Everything that Gamrot knew, he hit it on Dustin Poirier. He tried every move. The one thing that Gamrot never hit Poirier with was a fucking leg sweep. And that's what
like
Islam
a basic
did.
Move,
there's a level to what Islam does compared to what other wrestlers do. And Islam was able to do something that Poirier had never seen before, and it threw Poirier off.
A sweep is such a basic move, though, but maybe they overlooked it.
It's different though. Like they
it's
just
the way he
no
engaged
one has ever hit it.
He didn't snatch it in such a telegraphed way. He found his way to it, and at that point, it's gonna be easy.
Yeah, and no one has ever tried that to Dustin, and no one has ever tried that to Islam or to Leon.
Like once you grab the leg like that and you sweep it, man, you already know it's done. You know it's game over.
And I think that Leon is gonna fall into an Islam trap. Islam is gonna set a trap for him that he's never seen before. And Leon, no matter how good his takedown defense has gotten, he's had really good takedown defense against American wrestlers. Not against someone who has a different style of wrestling from Dagestan, who does different stuff than just a normal double leg or a single leg.
Agreed.
Which he's always known how to deal with. He doesn't know how to deal with the other stuff that he's never seen before.
After hearing this, though, I'm not going to lie. I'd love to see the fight, though.
I know. I want to see it. Like, screw Armin. We've
though.
already seen Islam beat Armin. There's no reason to run that back. Give him Leon. Just do it. Do.
I think Islam did enough to
Armin,
get
you are not our man right now. You
Yeah.
gotta move out of the way.
It's just like Armin. It's like, listen, forget what wrestling you got, because the wrestling is just gonna equal out to striking, and your striking's not with Islam right now. So just give him Leon.
Yeah, I think that's the fight to make. I think that would be a great fight. But it's not what we're gonna get. Probably it's gonna be something completely different. But it's whatever. So while we're here, do we want to do predictions for the card this weekend? It is Jared Cannonier versus Amavov, and then let's see, they have it all mixed up. Dominic Reyes versus Dustin Jacoby, and Rojas Jr. versus Ricky Tercios.
No, not Ricky.
I'll do those.
So we could do those three. What else is on this card? Is there anything else good on this card? Diego Ferreira. Yeah, no. We're good. Yeah, just those three probably.
All right.
So you in on the predictions?
I'm down, yeah.
All right. So Rojas Jr. versus Ricky Tercios.
Rojas Jr.
You got Rojas?
Give me Ricky.
Ricky?
Give me Ricky.
I'm gonna take Rojas too. I think Rojas could probably get it done. I've seen Ricky fight.
He needs to get his fucking permit first.
Didn't Ricky win the Ultimate Fighter that season?
He did, yeah.
Yeah, I think he did win it.
Rojas,
I don't know.
So he's like a different level.
Yeah,
Different level.
so you got Ricky. We both have Rojas.
Yeah,
I knew you guys would choose him. I had to deviate. I had to go.
Hey, sometimes
go
you gotta
now,
do
right?
what you gotta do. Dominic Reyes versus Dustin Jacoby.
What's Jacoby's record?
19-8 with 1 draw, and Dominic Reyes is 12-4, but he's on a 4-fight lose streak. So
Dustin Jacoby.
you got Dustin.
Yeah.
You know what? Fuck it. Raz is gonna beat the schlump, man. He's back. He's gonna go on a 1-fight win streak. Give me Raz.
I don't know, because Dustin Jacoby is a kickboxer. He's fought guys like Izzy and Pereira
He's got
before in
more
kickboxing. He does, but screw it. I got Reyes too. We'll do Reyes.
Yo, this is crazy now, because now my man over here sitting in the Catbird seat.
And then we got Jared Cannonier versus Amavov.
Jared Cannonier.
I knew you were gonna say that, and I'm sticking with Jared Cannonier too. That's why I picked That's why I picked Dominic Reyes.
That's how I got him. That's why I got him Mavov.
You got Amavov.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
All right, so you went all right side. We went all okay.
There's a way for everyone to win this title.
Yeah, there is. All right, so you have Ricky, we have Rojas, we have Dominic Reyes, he has Dustin Jacoby, and then we have Jared Cannonier, and you have Amavov.
Yep.
All right, sounds good. These are going to be some dangerous predictions for this title.
Yeah.
But is this
Just hand it over now.
Is this our matchup?
Just give it to me now.
Is this our matchup, or do we
Interim
still
matchup.
do
Interim
a quiz
matchup.
next week?
This is an interim. I'm down.
All right,
I'm
word.
down for this to be the interim.
All right, word.
And then when I win,
And you know what?
Then I'll give you the quiz.
For the snub I got, I want my interim too.
Well, you're already
I wanna
in it.
redeem my
We
intern
just-
too.
Triple threat.